In this week's the news, at least missing emails from polluting lobbyists means no paper waste. Please stop making the country suck, asks infrastructure experts. The economy is so awful, foreign spies are targeting government job hunters online. And the playground whose vision isn't based on movement. All that and more in this week's the news. Hello there, kia ora, and welcome to this week's the news. I'm Paul, and I take full responsibility for the 1969 Ngatea Mystery Radioactive Crop Circle. Questions are being raised and investigations launched by the Department of Internal Affairs and the Ombudsman about missing emails from top polluters being sent directly to the Prime Minister's former Chief Policy Advisor's personal email that lobbied for changes to climate change legislation that favoured top polluters Fonterra and Z Energy. When the issues were raised with the Prime Minister, he said, "This has definitely not met the high standard that I have for staffers in the beehive. First there was that high standard set by the creep who was taking those photos, and now another staffer, this time linked to the same AstroTurf group that we have rewriting our education curriculum that's funded by big business and industry players, seemingly not meeting the standards that we tell the public that we have privately." Well, what we say privately doesn't need to go on the record. The government has come under fire, again, this time for changes to the Electoral Commission, the organisation in charge of running the country's elections. Despite recommendations from the Independent Electoral Review, no Māori have been appointed to the commission, but Atlas Group member, corporate lobby AstroTurf Group NZ Initiative alumnus member Murray Jack was appointed despite protests from the Green Party. Said Minister Paul Goldsmith, seen here momentarily shocked they might have accidentally passed a law that didn't breach the Human Rights Act. Look, any changes that we make that make it harder for people to vote, shape our systems around the wants of our sponsors and partisan supporters and silences Māori, well, that's always going to take priority over anything related to fair systems or treaty responsibilities. The Chinese military is reportedly targeting people with access to government information with job offers that, according to NZSIS, sound too good to be true, but really match what they'd expect to find in similar roles overseas that they've been considering, but without the concern of being replaced by untested AI or fired by Nicola Willis to pay for her landlord tax breaks and road cone hotline. The Chinese embassy has denied this, saying it's not our fault if the only person getting a 63% pay increase is one of the leading fundraisers for the coalition and not actual public servants. The King's birthday honours were announced last weekend and was the perfect opportunity for Christopher Luxon, seen here shocked to discover some people can't just sell their rentals to shore up cash flow, to thank people for the final time as Prime Minister. They included Elizabeth Rata, seen here performing The Rite of Kali, an AstroTurf-connected academic known for claiming Māori can't decide things for themselves, who's also in charge of changing the education system to fit the latest models from 1860, and a regular ACT Party conference speaker. Included was also veteran right-wing broadcaster Barry Soper, seen here asking Nelson Mandela if he would actually vote for ACT like David Seymour claimed, and Wellington parliamentary protest instigator and conspiracy theorist Alan Simmons. Not seen here because while this fire was happening, he was off claiming the fire was started by secret police operatives despite the video evidence to the contrary. Said a spokesperson for Luxon's office, the Prime Minister wanted to make sure when he got his title, people really understood the value of a royal honour. Social Development Minister Louise Upston, seen here spotting the one beneficiary she hasn't physically thrown under the bus herself, so now she's firmed up her lunch plans, has avoided questions about her claiming a $1,000 weekly accommodation supplement for a property that she already owns while trying to make it harder for beneficiaries to get accommodation supplements. Said Upston, Sorry, we interrupt the story for some breaking news. Political reporters from Stuff are facing potential backlash from the Speaker of the House, seen here recognising somebody speaking Te Reo Māori in the gallery, after photos that they took were used in their media coverage. The photos, taken from one of the designated areas media is permitted to be taking photos and videos from, show Minister Louise Upston walking in a hallway at a distance. Scandalous stuff. But apparently this is enough to upset the Speaker and the National Party. You know what we're saying? I'm sure it was important until that odd distraction came along and distracted us oddly from whatever it was, that story that we were talking about before, which I'm sure had something to do with about the coalition being entitled and out of touch. Well, I guess it can't have been too important then. Paula Bennett, seen here spotting a ladder she forgot to pull up behind her, in her role as head of the Pharmac board, has been given a 63% pay rise by Associate Health Minister David Seymour. While the pay rise took her 66 grand annual salary to over 100 grand annually, and typically takes 10 to 20 hours a month for prep for her monthly board meetings, said Pharmac Minister David Seymour, seen here with the former party president Tim Jago, the one that got name suppression in 2023 to stop the harm his sexual assault on minors charges would have on the ACT Party. With this increase, it shows how critical it is that we get good people running critical organisations like Pharmac. While we offer most public servants, including the police, teachers and healthcare workers, less than 2% pay increases and force the lowest minimum wage increases on record onto low-income earners and tell them to shut up and be happy. A new report commissioned by Civil Contractors New Zealand, Infrastructure New Zealand and Water New Zealand have revealed the cost of deferring or cancelling infrastructure projects at an estimated $11.8 billion in the last 25 years. Those costs have come from delays, which sees costs driven up over time, causing inflation issues, workforce issues, and delayed community benefits. Some of the most costly infrastructure decisions in the report included the Inter-Islander ferry replacement debacle, the cancellation of Three Waters to be replaced by local water done well, the cancellation of Keep Wellington moving, and the cancellation of Auckland Light Rail, as well as delays on the second Auckland Harbour crossing, said Infrastructure Minister Chris Bishop, seen here showing the level of funding he took from flooding resilience funding to pay for a bridge in his own electorate that the government that he was part of had already cancelled. We may have forced or delayed or cancelled all of these big changes, but at least we're firing an extra 9,000 public servants, so the reliance on our infrastructure goes down to compensate for it. The coalition has decided to legislate the removal of external voting rights on council advisory committees, in a move being seen by many as a way to silence the voices of tangata whenua in local council decision-making processes, said Local Government Minister Simon Watt, seen here confused as to why anyone would bring up the fact he is also a landlord, and this information is important to foreshadow the point I'm about to make. Look, we keep saying one person, one vote as justification for this, like people being part of an advisory process is somehow stopping others from voting in elections, while ignoring our general election process affords everyone 2 votes, or even that our local council elections still allow landlords, like me, to vote in areas that they own property in, but don't live in, giving them multiple votes that we refused to stop happening when this was drawn from the biscuit tin, because when we say we believe in one person, one vote, and use that to keep justifying decisions that strip Māori participation in democracy, what we actually mean is we just don't want Māori to have a say. But we don't want to say that part out loud. It's why we partnered with ACT and New Zealand First, so they could do it on our behalf. The Prime Minister has apologised for misleading messages in social media posts put out by their party. The Prime Minister said a mistake happened, we've corrected it, after an announcement on maternity stays for new mothers was presented as being an immediate change, which wasn't the case. The Prime Minister, however, has not apologised for national MPs and official communications from the party doing the same things about claims like lowering the deficit, lowering ram raid numbers, reducing the number of victims of violent crime, claims they lowered interest and inflation rates, that Labour kept Auckland under lockdown substantially longer than needed, that they borrowed money for COVID that wasn't used as part of their COVID response, that National was responsible for increasing pension rates, that youth offending rates have gone down, that Labour gave money directly to the mongrel mob, and that fees free was a total failure. All provably false claims that the government and National Party MPs have made on social media. And a Dunedin councillor is asking planners to yabba dabba do keep an iconic part of St Kilda's Marlow Park, a 6-decade-old dinosaur slide that he recalls using on its opening day. Andrew Sims has asked planners to look at upgrading the area to a destination playground to consider keeping the icon, saying they're so busy arguing whether or not they could, they haven't stopped to ask if they should upgrade without the slide. Said a spokesperson for the council, we're looking at options and hopefully life will find a way here. Right, don't forget to check your voter details are all up to date at vote.nz. If they're not checked by the 25th of October, you may not be able to vote. So get in before the New Zealand Initiative or some other government-loved AstroTurf does it for you. Until next time, live long, prosper, be one with the Force, and have a fantastic week. Hey, thanks for sticking around till the end of the video. While you're here, why not hit that like button or share the video or even subscribe to the channel. You could even become a paid YouTube member so you can see things released in advance, you get access to some exclusive content, and like all these awesome people, you get to have your name at the end of the credits as well.